Today we're talking about how comfort is destroying your nervous system and nobody is talking about it. If you feel more anxious, more overwhelmed, more sensitive, or less resilient than before, yet your life is technically more comfortable, then this video is for you. We're more comfortable than any generation before us, yet our nervous systems are more dysregulated than ever. If you're new to this channel, my name is Dr. Bisleen Attli. I'm a naturopathic doctor who's helped thousands and thousands of people reset and regulate their nervous system state. The conversation that I'm having with you today was inspired by this book that I read called The Comfort Crisis. I highly recommend that you read it. It was an incredible book. And what I'm really going to be doing is I'm going to be taking the concepts from this book and tying it directly to your nervous system state. Because comfort feels good in the moment, but over time, it's actually training your nervous system to be less resilient and it's training you to be weaker than ever. So don't mind me while I drink my morning cha as I talk to you all. I would highly recommend pause this video. Go get yourself some cha, coffee, tea, whatever rocks your boat, and let's get started. First of all, let's just define what I mean when I say comfort. Comfort, when I'm talking about it, I'm essentially talking about anything that makes your life easier for you. What starts to happen is that the more things that make us comfortable, the more that becomes our new normal, and that is what our nervous system gets used to. So say, for example, like way back in the days when they first had a TV, they didn't have TV remotes. So what did you have to do? You actually had to get up to change the channel, to change the volume, to, shift things around the TV. You actually had to get up, get your booty off the couch, do the TV to change things up. But when TV remotes came around, that became our new comfort zone. Like we just have these like TV remotes now. So that means that we can keep our booties where they are on the couch. We don't have to get up and do anything. So what would happen is that, and I know you can relate to this because I relate to this, okay? Because there have been times when the remote's not working and I'm just like, oh my God, I have to get up off the couch and to go change some volume or something on the TV because my remote isn't actually working. And when you actually think about it, like how ridiculous is that? That we literally complain about the TV remote not working and we need to get up off the couch to change, the channel or the volume because the remote's not working and it's literally like a 1 second walk away. But this is exactly how this whole comfort creep happens, right? That's what the concept is of comfort creep, is once we start to become comfortable to something, once something becomes a convenient to us, that just becomes our new normal. Say, for example, if you used to use the bus to travel around and use public transit to travel around everywhere, but then you got a car. Now having your own car is what is most convenient to you. It's what's most comfortable to you. So if your car was to break down and you had to go back to using public transit, even if you had spent 5-10 years of your life using public transit, but because now having a car was like your new convenience, your new comfort, it seems like such an inconvenience. It seems like it's the end of the world. Now you have to go back to using public transit while your car is broken or at the mechanic because having a car became your new comfort. So basically your nervous system adapts. It adapts to the new comfort. It adapts to the new conveniences in your life. Also, a little side note, I've started making cha with almond and cashew milk and high protein almond and cashew milk, and it is actually really good. Like the first few sips might taste a little bit different, but once you get used to the taste, like, oh my goodness, it is amazing. And it doesn't hurt my tummy. So if you're someone who loves cha, because I love cha, but I couldn't drink it because of dairy, try the Silk Almond Cashew Dairy-Free Milk. So good. High protein too. So I'm basically having high protein cha right now. So as you can probably see how much of a problem this can become in our life, the more and more conveniences that we start to get in our life. Because the more convenient our life becomes, the less inconvenience we can actually handle because now we are used to a certain level of convenience. That's why we have the words first world problem, or when we look at, people who are really wealthy and go like, oh my God, like rich people problems, right? Like I wish I had those problems. But to them, those problems actually feel really, really big and massive because, of what they are used to and what conveniences they're used to in their life. Why this really becomes a problem is that our nervous system actually gets stronger through healthy amounts of stress. And our nervous system needs healthy amounts of stress on a daily basis in order to be stronger, in order to increase its capacity. If we are filling our day with all of these conveniences like Uber Eats and just, everything at the touch of our fingertips, we're actually building a weaker and weaker nervous system state that can't handle any sort of stress long term. And what I really want to emphasize here is that stress itself isn't the bad thing. It's not bad being exposed to stress. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're not, going beyond our breaking point, and we'll talk about what healthy amounts of stress are. I'm going to share tons of examples, so stay until the end of this video. But we really want to make sure that we are constantly looking at ways to expand our capacity to handle stress instead of avoiding stress. I think where a lot of us go wrong with this whole nervous system regulation work is that we think that we need to be sheltered and we need to create this really soft life where we don't ever get to experience any sort of stress. And the more that we actually avoid the stress, we still keep ourselves in that weak, fragile state because your nervous system expands through stress. It needs stress to be able to get stronger. And if you don't give your nervous system healthy ways to practice being stressed out during the day, it doesn't get stronger. And I found that in my life, and I share this with my patients as well, is that a really just healthy mindset shift that you can embody in your life is when a stressor shows up in your life, instead of being like, oh my God, like, how am I going to handle this? What does this happen to me? Start to see it as a challenge and as a way that you can strengthen yourself. So now when stressors show up in my life, now when painful moments show up, I'm just like, yeah, bring on the pain, like, let's go. Doesn't mean I don't feel my feelings or push those feelings down. I feel a lot, okay? I feel all of it. But I really have shifted the way that I see stress in my life. And now stress isn't something that's here to break me, it's something that's here to make me. And I get excited sometimes when I experience stress because I'm just like, let's go. Because going through this, I know is going to help me step into that version of myself that I truly want to be. To really emphasize here, chronic comfort shrinks our capacity to handle stressors. Imagine if everything was handed to you, every single thing you've ever wanted was handed right to you. I know that sounds amazing. I know it sounds like, oh my goodness, please, yes, give me the money, the love of my life, the house, the car, just give me everything, all the trips. I know it sounds like something that, it's like you want that. You want everything to be handed to you on a silver platter, but trust me, you don't, because if that was handed to you all on a silver platter, your capacity to handle any amount of stress would be like nothing. You wouldn't be able to handle it at all because everything was just handed to you. This is why we want to experience stress. We want to experience the challenges of trying to get to our goals because that is what is going to make us be stronger at the end of the day. Something that the Comfort Crisis book really opened my eyes up to was the fact that we as humans actually evolved through discomfort. Like, so much discomfort. When we go way, way back, okay, like way back to millions of years ago, our ancestors were cold, hungry, like all the time. And they were experiencing tremendous amounts of stress on an everyday basis when they were like hunting and trying to survive. And this is how we as a species have evolved. We have evolved to be able to handle really big amounts of stress. But what's happened is that our modern everyday society has taken us away from these stressors. And yes, that's a positive thing. I think it's amazing how much our society is evolving and what we humans are creating on an everyday basis. Like, I think it's truly phenomenal just to see what we as a species are capable of. But I think that there's something really dangerous also happening here because our nervous systems have learned how to evolve through stress. So if we are not actively trying to give our nervous system healthy amounts of stresses during a day, we're actually doing ourselves a big disservice. And I'm going to talk about again what kind of that balance is and how you start building a strong nervous system by giving yourself healthy amounts of stressors. But this awareness and education is so important. And honestly, again, I'd highly recommend it. Go read this book. It's going to open your eyes up to so much. There was specifically a whole chapter on there with hunger. And, we as a species, we would have 1 or 2 meals a day, like way back in the day. And our bodies have not evolved to us just eating all day long. And this is why, like, insulin resistance, so many chronic diseases are so rampant in our society because we're just like eating all day long. And our bodies aren't used to that. They literally aren't. This is a very new thing that our bodies have been exposed to, just the amount and abundance of food that's everywhere. because this was not a thing. I mean, even like 200 years ago, having this level and abundance of food was really not a thing. And so it's important to remember these things and the fact that we need to have this discomfort in our life and get ourselves used to discomfort so that we can become stronger overall as an individual. I know that in the moment, avoidance can feel like you're regulating, but you're not actually regulating. Short term comfort and constantly going towards things in the short term that are going to help you feel better is actually building a long term fragile version of you. And that is very important to understand. The more that you give in to the short term comforts all throughout the day, you're actually building a weaker version of you, and you're actually hurting your nervous system in the long run because now you've just completely shrunk your capacity to be able to handle stressors throughout the day. When we continuously avoid doing the hard thing, or when we continuously just go towards those comforts over and over and over again, that's what actually increases our sensitivity long term. So you're literally becoming a more sensitive person long term by continuously giving in to the things that make you feel the most comfortable on an everyday basis. Safety and strength are learned through experience. We have to go through the pain. We have to go through the hard things over and over and over again in order to be stronger versions of ourselves. That's why I really think that having that mindset of when you experience something painful or hard, having the mindset of like, this is here to make me stronger. I can use this to make this be a better version of myself can be such a healthy way to look at things instead of seeing these things and being like, oh my God, and freaking out, because that is only going to make it worse. Before I get into how you start actually giving your nervous system healthy doses of stress throughout the day, something I wanted to emphasize here is that you don't want to push yourself past your breaking point. That's not the goal of this. The goal isn't to expose yourself to extreme trauma. The goal isn't here to ignore your body's needs and not listen to what your body is telling you, right? Like, for example, you're running and your knees are really hurting and extreme sharp pain is happening. It's not about pushing through that or putting yourself in dangerous situations to make your nervous system be stronger. No, it's not about any of that. It's instead looking at what are some moments during the day that you have that you can slowly, in small doses, start exposing yourself to a little bit of discomfort throughout the day so that you can build a stronger version of you. Because even exposing yourself to these little bits of discomfort all throughout the day, it's still going to have a really, really positive impact and benefit on your nervous system, and it's going to help to expand your capacity to be able to handle stress long term. With that being said, let's get into how you can start exposing yourself to healthy amounts of stressors and what healthy stress even looks like. If you see me looking down, I do have my clipboard here with some notes. I just really want to make sure I don't miss any of the important points I want to share with all of you. So healthy stress essentially looks like you being able to handle boredom. This is a big one, big one. Those of us who have a dysregulated nervous system, we can't handle boredom. And I would be lying if I said that I didn't struggle with this. I am an overachiever. So if I'm bored, I'm just like, I need to fill every moment with work. So something I'm totally working on as well. But you should be able to handle boredom. So being able to handle boredom is a healthy way to expose yourself to stress. Being able to handle mild physical discomfort, so pushing yourself a little bit further than you normally would, being able to handle emotions and stillness as well. So, healthy amounts of stress and exposing yourself to healthy amounts of stress, this can be some examples of it. And so, how do you start? These are some tips that I really want you to remember. Number one is small doses. So, for example, a great way to be able to handle a little bit of discomfort is maybe pushing your lunch or your dinner 30 minutes later than you normally would, right? So letting yourself be a little bit hungry. Or if you always have a snack at a specific time, skip the snack. Let yourself be a little bit hungry. So that's exposing yourself to a little bit of discomfort. So it's like a small dose of it, right? We're only pushing it by 30 minutes. It's not like, you were eating 3 meals a day and now you're going to only have 1 meal during a day. Like that's a big jump. And you don't want to do that because that's going to be too extreme of a jump for your nervous system. And then what's going to happen is you're probably going to end up binge eating. So you want to make sure the dose of it is small, and you want to make sure that this is something that you can consistently do over time. Consistency over intensity. If you make it too intense for your nervous system state, you're not going to want to do it long term. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure it's something that we can do consistently over time. You want to be also very intentional about the discomfort that you choose. And most importantly, always listen to your body's capacity. Always. This is especially true for women because depending on where you are in your menstrual cycle, it can literally shift up the capacity that you have to be able to handle stressors. And I'm specifically talking about like the week or 10 days before your cycle starts. During that time, you don't want to expose yourself to anything that's too uncomfortable because that can actually have a detrimental impact and effect on your hormones because you're going to be under a state of too much stress. And we want to avoid that, especially the week before our period starts. Let's go through now some examples of things that you can try to do to help expand your capacity to handle discomfort. Number one, avoid picking up your phone with every free moment that you have. This is something that I'm working on too. I struggle with it a little bit because so much of my business is online and I sometimes use it as an excuse to be like, let me just see how many likes and comments something got. And I need to really avoid doing that or being like, oh my God, I need to reply back to emails right now, right away, even though I don't need to. So avoid doing that. So what does that mean? You can sit and be still or do something else in that meantime. Or be okay with the boredom because every free moment you have to pick up your phone, you're actually building a weaker brain and you're teaching your brain that you need these dopamine hits now throughout the day. So avoid picking up your phone when you have these free moments and sit in the discomfort of being with yourself. Sit in that discomfort. Another great example would be if you're feeling if you're feeling a difficult emotion and your go-to is to always call a friend to get that reassurance, get that support, which is fantastic. But maybe before you call that friend for about 5 minutes, you're just going to sit and you're just going to feel that emotion. You're going to feel the sadness, you're going to feel the anger, and you're just going to be okay with that emotion for a little bit. Another example would be you ending your shower off with some cold water. And maybe you start off with literally just like 10 seconds and you're just in the shower like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and you count to 10 seconds and that you're ending the shower off with that. And you could slowly work your way up to having like a 1 minute cold shower, right? Very small doses and something that you work your way up to. Another example would be you walking outside, even if it's cold. I'll go on walks, even if it's negative 30-degree weather outside. And yes, I am freezing my booty off, but it's such a beautiful moment for me to strengthen my nervous system state and for me to get stronger in that moment instead of us constantly sitting inside and just being in these regulated temperature rooms and our body needs to be exposed to some of that cold, right? Our ancestors were used to that. They were used to being outside in the cold. These are just some examples to really help you get started. And there's so many other ones that you can think of. And so just go through your day and just look at, can I just experience a little bit of discomfort right now? And what can I do right now to experience discomfort and start to actually see that as a positive thing? Because the more of these little micro moments of discomfort you expose yourself to, the stronger that you're going to get over time. And maybe a simple thing for you to do is just to choose one thing, do it for 30 days and just take note of your strength. Take note of your capacity to handle stressors and how much it increases by you just focusing on this one thing. So I hope that this video was really helpful. I hope that it's really opened your eyes up to a different way of supporting your nervous system state. Because again, so many of us, when we're looking at regulating our nervous system state, we think that we need to create this like soft, cushy life, but that's not true. Your nervous system will get stronger when you expose it to healthy amounts of discomfort throughout the day. And if you do want personalized one-on-one support to help your nervous system state, I welcome you to book a free discovery call with me so that we can talk about what your personalized nervous system plan looks like.